Absolutely Talks, empowering talent for global careers. Brought to you by Absolutely French, presented by Armel Pervin.
Hello everyone. Let's talk about the silent deal breaker in international mobility, the partner's career. In Asia, while international assignments are booming, the career of the accompanying partner often falls off the radar. According to the 2020 Permits Foundation survey, 90% of partners were working before expatriation, but less than 50% found a job after moving. In Asia, specifically, up to 77% of partners are women, and many struggle to access employment due to visa restrictions, lack of support, and cultural barriers. Now, here is the consequence. 1 in 4 families considers ending their assignment early due to the partner's career frustration. And more talents refuse to move if the partner can't work. In a time where companies talk about gender equity, a lot now, and diversity, how can we still afford to make women, expat partners, choose between their career and their family? That's why I created Absolutely Ahead, the AI Mobility Academy. We empower expat partners, especially women, to rebuild their professional identity, explore new opportunities, and turn this move into a career accelerator. We help them prepare their expatriation. We work with companies to make international mobility more inclusive, sustainable, and human. And why it's so important to me, because I've been the partner. I've seen brilliant women lose confidence and visibility abroad, especially in Absolutely French in Paris. And because diversity starts at home, with every dual career couple we support. And now, to give us a different perspective from the corporate side of global mobility, I'm very happy to welcome Alex Marteau, who leads global mobility at Nissan in Tokyo. He's joining us today to share key insights on how Europe and Asia differ when it comes to dual career support, relocation policies, and what truly makes mobility sustainable. Because at the end of the day, beyond strategies and number, it's all about understanding people, their cultures, their choices, their futures. So, Alexandre, before we dive into your experience, let's start with a few fire questions, quick, personal, to know you a little bit more. So, how many times have you lived abroad?
I've been in assignment in 4 different countries, so Japan, Brazil, US, and China in my career so far, yes.
And you come from France?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a dual nationality, no?
No, I'm just French, but
Okay.
yeah, I spent a big part of my career outside France, actually. 20 years outside France and 5 years in France at the beginning.
Okay. And which country felt most like home for you?
Oh, it's definitely Japan. I'm half Japanese. My mother is Japanese. My father is French. I'm married with a Japanese. So Japan is my second home after France. So, and I've spent more than 10 years here today. So yeah, this is Japan.
Okay. And your expat life was with kids? No kids?
Luckily, well, my first assignment, I was not married and I didn't have kids, but yes, all my assignments in the US, in Brazil, in China, in Japan, I could bring my family and my kids and my spouse also. So yes, I had the chance to. We had the chance to be together.
Mm. And what is the first thing you pack when moving abroad?
I haven't thought about that. What is the first thing we pack when moving abroad? There are furniture that we have bought 20 years ago, like lamp, for example, that we continue to bring to each of our assignments. So those lamp traveled from Japan to the US, to Brazil, back to Japan, to China, now back to Japan. So we have a few of those, small furniture that have been with us for a long time.
Interesting to feel at home where you
Yeah.
move.
Yes.
It's so important for
Mm.
expats.
Mm.
And one word to describe your first month as an expat. When you arrive in a new country, how would you describe this first month?
It's usually extremely pleasant because it's the discovery and everything is new, and you get to just experience everything for the first time. So it's usually the first month is usually very nice. It's not a difficult month. Problem comes after, maybe in the third month, because yes, that's when you face some of the difficulty usually, and that can be a little bit difficult. But yeah, the first month is usually it's wonderful. That's the word I would use.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then you have the cultural shock
Mm.
after that,
Mm.
which is more difficult. Okay. Thank you, Alex, for this. So could you introduce yourself and your role at Nissan in Tokyo?
Yeah. So yeah, you said I was in charge of global mobility. I'm not in charge of global mobility. I manage talent management, learning and development, and recruitment. So that's my job, both on the global and also for Japan. And because I manage talent management, and one of my job is to move the talent to a key position in the world, I get involved, of course, in global mobility aspect, because that implies in many cases moving talent from Europe to Japan, from Japan to the US, from Japan to China. And so that's where I get very involved in global mobility, beside the fact that myself, I had a chance to move a lot. But I'm not a specialist of global mobility.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you understand?
Oh yes, and when I was in China, that was part of my job, is to manage the global mobility of all the talent we brought from Japan to China, for example. So my team was dealing with all the visa and all the housing, and actually I was in China at the moment of COVID, so there was also an additional complexity because of the COVID situation, which you can imagine in China was particularly unique. But so yes, I know the topic, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Alors, in Japan, you told me that there is a strong separation between work and private life. How does this affect the mobility policies, and especially regarding spouses?
Yeah, so I'm French. I started my career in Renault, and I know what you do, Armel. I know some of the company. I think I know some of the company you work with. The the Japanese society today, in the Japanese society today, I would say, and I don't like to make too much generality because I only know one company, which is Nissan, which is the auto industry, and there may be different company in Japan with more advanced support for spouse career. But generally speaking, in what I know, there's very few consideration for the spouse double carrier. You have many situations where, in Japan, there's only one person working in a couple. Usually it's the man. It's not always the case, but in many cases it's the man, particularly in the auto industry, where we have lots of engineers who tends to be more male than female. So the man work, he's an engineer, and when he gets assigned abroad, you have situation where the family is separated. The wife and the kids decide to stay in Japan. The man goes alone. This is changing because
And they do this to keep the job for the spouse, or why they do this?
as I mentioned, in many cases, so it's changing again. More and more couple in Japan, you have double carrier. So in many cases, yes, the spouse decide to stay in Japan to be able to continue her work. But you also have, and maybe this is something we'll discuss a bit later, but you also have kids' education that goes into play. In Japan, particularly when you start middle school and then high school, many families try to put their kids in private middle school, private high school, which are difficult to enter. And once you enter those schools, you cannot get out. If you get out, you lose your seat. Then when you come back from expatriation to Japan, it would be very difficult to refine a new school. So I think mainly for the education reason, you have situation where the family gets separated. It happens less when the kids are young, like for example primary school, because in primary school there's less competition, and so in that case now most young family would travel with their together. I mean the family will move together in expatriation, but once the kid reach middle school, I've seen many cases where the man the man and the couple decide to be separated.
Okay, and do you have, I don't know, did you make study on this subject, and did you see if there is a difference for the people who stay with his family? Does it est meilleur au boulot? How do you say it in English? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or does he lose performance?
It is so common. To have like separate family that I would say I don't think this is. We haven't made study. No, we haven't made study because it's really, really something common. It's not like it happens once every 4 or 5. It's the majority of the case will be like that. So 60% will be like that. And no, I don't think this has a big impact. It's considered normal.
Okay.
You know, it's considered normal and best for the family. Yeah, this is strange for that, but it is considered best for the family because what is most important is the school. Okay, and you don't want to lose your seat in the middle school or high school, and the kid fought hard to enter. You know, they had to study a lot to enter this school, this private school, that will give them an access to some of the best university in Japan, for example. You see, so there's not a question or it's normal. It will be a bad decision to leave that school. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I understand this one, but so it means that if the woman, let's say the woman, stay
Mm.
in Japan, so she
Mm.
will keep her job and take care of the kids by herself.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And I have discussion with. I remember when I was in China, I had discussion with a Japanese expat where that were telling me, okay, I was telling them, okay, would you be okay to stay one more year? You already stay 3 years separated from your family. Would you be okay to stay one more year? And in many cases, it's yeah. I discussed with my spouse, and she really now she's tired. She really wants me to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, which so they will do it, but there's a moment where okay, after 2 or 3 years,
Right.
please come back.
Right.
Yeah, so
Okay. So
that
it's a big,
happened. Yeah,
even if they don't move, it's a big sacrifice for the woman.
it's yeah. There's a sacrifice. Obviously, it's a burden for the spouse, the woman usually who stay alone in Japan with the kids.
And you don't offer a specific, I don't know, help at home or something like this for the ladies who stay? You don't do it? No. Okay.
No, no. So another thing that you find in Japan, I wouldn't say it's in majority of the case, but still, you find that regularly, is grandparents that are close to the house of the couple or the family, and so they can help. Okay. In Actually, it's the same in China. In China, also,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
cases, the grandparents take care of the children while the father and the mother work. So you have this very close proximity with the grandparents on one side or the other. It's not always the case because the society changed, but it's still a help in the
Okay.
Asian society. Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see how it's different between Asia and Europe. And do you think that this system, the way the people live in Japan, impact the fact that they don't make too many babies now?
Uh, yeah, it's a. I would say yes. I'm not a specialist of this topic. Why Japan or China makes less baby? It's a bigger problem, but I think yes. I think the few articles I have read, when you think about the aspiration of women, whether in Japan and moreover in China or in Korea, when they think about the burden that will fall on them, career, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids,
Education.
that that make them decide
Higher.
in some case not to have kids. But okay, I don't want to get too much in detail because I'm not a specialist of this,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Mm, mhm. Okay. And do you recruit women at a high position in Nissan? Do you have women?
Yes, we have. Nissan is one company that, thanks to the alliance with Renault, we had. We have been very active in promoting women's career since 20 years ago. If we compare ourselves to Toyota and Honda, we have a much higher percentage of women manager. It's around 10% in the case of Nissan, but if you go to Toyota and Honda, it will be less than 5%. So it's the double basically. Now, if we compare ourselves to a company like Shiseido, for example, which will be the equivalent of L'Oréal in France, Shiseido would have a much higher percentage of women's manager. I
Maybe
don't know
because
the
it's
exact number, but yeah,
yeah, because it's also beauty and
exactly, exactly. So we are more like the auto industry. It's
yeah.
more male-dominated industry. But yes, we've been active to develop and promote women's career. We are not arrived yet. We still have a lot of effort to do. And I only talk about Japan, but then now if you go to Nissan in Europe or in America, it's pretty similar to what you find in Renault or other companies. So it's a much higher percentage. Yeah.
Okay. So it's because if you have a woman expat, do you think that if it's a Japanese woman, for example, do you think that the man will stay at home for taking care of the kids?
So the case I know, because of course we have women expat, Japanese women expat, the family move together. Yeah, the family move together. The men come, and the man is staying at home. In this case, the case I know, and this is just okay.
Yes.
I 4 or 5 cases I know which this is the case, but yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Mm.
Okay, alors, just to, because I don't follow the question, so it's not good. So I'm trying to. Alors, yeah, you mentioned that Japan's highly competitive school system plays a major role in mobility decision. Can you explain how this impacts expat families? So I think you answered already this question. So sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So just for the family separation, so there is no. And did you have cases when the man moved and the spouse followed the expat?
Yes, of course. No. It
Okay,
happens a lot. It happens a lot, particularly with younger generation.
okay,
If I take employee who are below 40 years old today, in many cases, the family move together. So
okay,
when the family is less than 40 years old, when it's less than years old family, usually the kids are still in primary school. Okay, they are less than 12 years old, and so in that case, now it's very common that the family move together, and the kids gets an experience living abroad. That also means, in many cases, that the spouse will stop her career, will stop her
okay,
work to follow the family. And I have had several discussions with expat, so young expat, were saying, okay, so I'm getting assigned to go to China or etc. So I need to talk with my spouse to see. I think she wants to come with me, but that means she will have to stop her career. So yes, I need to talk to her, and can I come back to you in 1 week? Let you know if yeah.
okay. So the younger generations, they are more, yeah, they want to go. It's easier for them. Okay,
Yes.
but the partner stops the career usually.
In many cases, yes, they have to. They have to.
Okay,
So in the worst cases, they have to quit their company.
okay,
In many cases, they have to take a break. Yes, obviously,
okay.
they have to take a break from their company.
And they don't
If
ask for something. It's okay for them.
they cannot ask, there's nothing to ask. I mean, yeah. There's nothing to. They're just happy. In many cases, they will be happy that the company keep their contract and will take them back after 3 years. Okay. So the attitude will be, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go to abroad with my husband. Is it okay? Are you okay? Maybe I will come back in 3 years. But they are not going to ask the company to something, because that's not, that's, I don't think they have this expectation. And the
Okay.
company will not, yeah.
It's cultural. You don't
Yeah,
ask.
yes.
And you say thank you.
They would almost feel like sorry to ask
Mm,
that for the company. I'm sorry, I need to take a leave.
okay.
You know, you need to manage without me for 3 years. And thank you for keeping a place for me when I come back.
Okay, it's more like
Yes.
this. And
Yeah.
for yeah, so they don't yeah, so there is no it's just to try to explain to the people who are listening to us. So there is no mobility policies for the expat partner, in fact, in Asia.
So I cannot talk about all the
Right.
companies in Asia or in Japan. I know only my company. Um, when we have double career inside the company. So, for example, the wife and husband work in our company. Okay, we provide we try to provide some support. For example, if the husband is assigned abroad, we will, and the spouse work for Nissan also, we may try to find a job for the spouse in Nissan abroad,
Okay.
so that she can continue her career. That we would do. Well, we would try to do. We cannot always make it happen, but we would try to do. But if this is in most of the case, the husband and wife don't work in the same company. In this case, no, that's
Right,
not
right.
special. Yeah.
Okay. So what lessons can Western companies learn from Japan's mobility approach and vice versa? What do you think?
So I find it difficult to give I find it difficult to find things that French company or European company could learn from Japanese company in terms of mobility, because I think again the society are very different. We just talked about that for the last 20-30 minutes now. So I think it's more the contrary. I think now the Japanese society is evolving. Young women have more expectation, and this is going to evolve in the direction of Europe. I think it's taking time. It's not going to be in 2 years or 3 years. It may take 10 years or 15 years, but this is where the Japanese company will have to learn maybe more from their Western counterpart. Yeah.
Okay, so you see it like this more. Okay,
I
interesting.
I I hope so.
Yeah,
Let's put it like
I
that.
do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never know with what's happening in the world today, which direction the society are going. But yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see? I just checked my questions for you and just so what will be your advice to human resources professionals managing mobility in Asia? For example, if there is a French company who are sending their expats in Japan or in China, do you have advice for them?
Okay. I would. Personally, I think, although it's a big barrier, I know. I think for European expats coming to Asia, coming to Japan, or coming to China, trying to learn the language is super important. I think today most European companies who send their expat to Asia provide support in the language. We do in Nissan also the same way when we send expat to China or to Europe. We provide support for the language. For me, this is something you cannot escape. Although I know this is extremely difficult, and the progress you can make in 2 or 3 years are always limited. But getting the expat familiar with the culture through language, but not just through language, is a must. Well, I'm not. I don't think I'm saying something very original. I think most company knows that already. But I would insist on this aspect.
Yeah, and the culture is very different, so it's important to understand
Mm-hmm.
maybe before you leave what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now it's the time of questions from the people who are listening to us, and I already have a question. So, alors, what are the key motivations for international employees to choose Japan or China as a destination today?
Okay. Well, I think I would say a lot of the business of the 21st century is in East Asia. You already know that. I mean, Japan is not as big and strong as it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, but it's still one of the biggest economy in the world. China, I don't need to explain to everybody what China became, but the economy is the center of the economy is in East Asia today. So if you are interested in the business, and on top of that, you're interested in discovering new culture. For me, those two countries are perfect destination. It's as people know, I think it's very safe. It's extremely interesting, complex, etc., etc. So. For me, it's pretty obvious that those two destinations are must. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Alors, another question from Rim. How is repatriation managed in Japan and China? Is there a structured plan to support returning employees and their families?
Okay, so I can talk about Japan. I'm not as familiar with China, but yes, of course, there is company, particularly for example on the housing. So company support employee even financially to find housing. In many cases, especially the family are young, they were renting when they left Japan. And so when they come back, they have this hassle to find a new place to rent. And so the company support that, which is quite important. And also provide days to do all those search, etc. Days, not vacation day, day to complete all those tasks. So yes, there is a strong system in place to support the repatriation. In the case of China, which I know less, but I know a little bit, they don't yet have a lot of experience sending expat abroad. Okay, this is starting because the Chinese company are becoming global, but many of the Chinese professionals that I met in China, they only worked in China. Because anyway, this is where all the growth happened for the last 20 years. So there's no need to go abroad. If you stay in China, there's so much things happening. It's changing so much that your career have so many opportunities. You don't need to go abroad. This is going to change now because the Chinese company are going to become global company, and you're going to start to see more and more expat, probably, and they will have to manage the return of the expat or of the family. But I think this is not so developed, based on my experience.
Okay. Yeah. And do you know if you, because in France, there are, we call that the, how do you say, contre-choc cultural, inverse cultural shock. And in many companies in Europe, it's very important because they lose employees after the people come back home. Do you have numbers about that in Nissan? Is it something you are looking at or not? Not at all.
I would, yeah. My answer will be simple. We don't lose employee after they come back from repatriation. That happens very rarely. I don't have number because we didn't measure it because it's not a problem for us. Traditionally, the employee in Nissan, in our company, are very loyal. They enter the company after they graduate from school, and they stay until they retire. This is changing. Again, this is changing. This is not as straightforward as it was 20 years ago, but most people stay. So we don't really have this issue.
Okay, so it's very, very different. Really, very interesting.
Yeah, but is that a big problem in France? Really, I don't know.
Yes, yeah. People
Yes.
now, there are not so many people who stay in the same company during 20, 30 years. No.
Yes, that I know. Okay.
Yeah, people are moving after 3, 5 years. They
Yes.
change companies, and so
Yes.
they can have a better salary because they negotiate, and
Yeah.
then they can come back to their previous company and get higher salary. So it's like a game. So
So we could have the same phenomenon with Nissan employee who come from Europe, who go to Japan, and then when they go back to Europe, some of them may feel like now they have an experience abroad that gives them, they have a more rich experience. And if they are not happy with the job they get back in Europe, some of them may decide to leave. But it happens more rarely with Japanese employees.
okay. Alors, we take just 2 more questions because it's nearly the time. Just there are many questions. I just see one that we didn't speak about. Alors, are there metrics or KPI in place to evaluate the success of international assignments in Asia? And what is success for Asian companies?
Okay, so we measure we measure the performance of all the employee the same way in all the location of our company, whether you're in China or in the US or in Japan. We have the same system to measure the performance of the company, of the employee. Sorry. So we have objective. We have we also measure what we call contribution, and so that's how we measure success. Basically, is how much the expat contribute to the company where he's been assigned, so it's pretty straightforward. It's not something specific to global mobility. It's just the same system that we use for all employees, whether they are local or expat. And that's how we measure success. I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly, but Yeah, that's how I would.
No,
Yeah.
it's good. Correct. Thank you. Alors, I have the last question. Would you rather have to meme everything for a week in your new country? Or
Sorry, can you repeat? Can you repeat?
I'm sorry. Would you rather have to meme everything for a week in your new country or attend a bureaucratic meeting entirely in a zebra costume?
Okay, I could not understand the first part of the question.
Alors,
So
est-ce que
yeah.
tu préfères mimer tout ce que tu fais pendant une semaine dans dans ton nouveau pays ou assister à une réunion entièrement dans un costume de zèbre? Qu'est-ce que tu préfères?
Yeah, I would prefer to attend attend a meeting in a zebra costume. The second
Ah,
one.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Easier. Okay, thank you, Alex, for this time with us. It was so interesting to see the cultural differences between Asia and Europe. So thank you for that. I was so happy to have you because I know you very well since a long, long time. So thank you to be my guest today. And for the people who want to see our others talks, it's on YouTube. You will see the link under this video. And we have over very interesting talks, so please watch them. And the next one will be in May, and it will be a surprise. It should be the 2nd of May. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Armel. Bye.